Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the morning show. It's 7 a.m. and we are here to kickstart your morning, help you get things going for the day. Maybe you are catching this live or maybe you're watching this later. Whenever you're watching this, my hope is that you're going to get this content. It's going to help you, it's going to spark something for you to have an amazing day, because I do believe no matter what you go through every single day, you have an opportunity, you have a choice to make this day great. And I appreciate you so much. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. There you are, my people in TikTok. And I also have a Clubhouse panel open. Clubhouse panel is open. So feel free to hop on, be a part of the conversation, and make things happen. So, to get things started, I do want to remind everyone that today is day 16 of a 30-day challenge. This is something we started 2 weeks ago, just a little over 2 weeks ago, where we decided that we're going to take 30 days to invest in our health and fitness. So for 30 days, several of us have been working on very simple targets. Number one, drink half your weight in ounces of water every day. And I've actually gotten feedback that drinking the water is one of the more difficult things to do. Number one, it messes your schedule up, right? So many people have been like, oh, I got to use the restroom like all the time. I get it. Make sure it's clear. So that's number one. Number two, get 30 minutes of exercise in a fixed time per week. So for me, I try to exercise every day. I go to the gym, do all that good stuff. I recently, this past Saturday, I got into a long distance run. When I say long distance, it was supposed to be long distance. Best I had was a 5K. My time just wouldn't allow for it, but it was great. I enjoyed being outside. It was wonderful. But basically, I'm telling people wherever you're at, if you can only do 3 days a week of 30 minutes, or you can do 5 days, or maybe you do the full 7, whatever, you have to make that decision. You have to listen to your body. But that's part of the challenge, is getting good exercise. The other one, the third thing, is to get proper nutrition, to increase your nutrition. Now, however that looks for you, we're just letting everyone kind of do what makes sense for them. Some people have given up certain foods, maybe more fried foods, maybe more junk foods, whatever. Other people are getting on a pretty strict diet. People are, watching what they eat, being more grilled, adding vegetables, doing those kinds of things. And others are mixing the two. I've actually mixed the two. I personally take a meal replacement twice a day. That's actually something I did back in September, and it's helped me lose a great amount of weight for me. I lost about 25 pounds since then, and I've been able to having ton of energy. So that's what I do, and then I try to eat like a nice lean dinner, something grilled, veggie, just and I'm trying to stay away. Trying's lying. Let's just be honest, and staying away from the grilled, which that's been different for me, because it's really easy for me to just be like, oh, I've done good today. Let's just, have something I want, right? I deserve this, just like a really raunchy attitude. But so it's been really awesome to, push myself to stay away from the fried foods, and it's been so. And I'll tell you this, I couldn't have done it without our Telegram group. We've got about 16, 17 of us in a group that we're constantly talking throughout the day, posting progress, posting encouragement, doing all that kind of good stuff. And we're halfway there now. We're over halfway there. It's awesome, and I can't wait to see what happens. And people are already getting results. People are losing weight. People are feeling great. Didn't mean to rhyme, but sometimes you just do it. But I hear we got somebody on the panel, which I'm so glad he's here, because I want him to take a very special lead on today's conversation. But before we do that, I want to acknowledge I see Team Thomas in the house. Team Thomas in the house. They said, "You woke me up, Jason." The Lord woke you up. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. This is not a singing time. Martinez, they can't handle both of us now. It's one thing I can't sing. I mean, you could probably do better than I could, but I don't think they can handle both of us. We also got Dr. Mike on here saying, cool.
I think it'd be.
Yeah, I tell you what, let's do it, and then we'll have everyone tag Pastor in it and tell him we shot a trial, not a trial, but a tryout video for Point of Mercy Praise Team. And let's see how far we get this thing going. I feel like I'm going to be that contestant on, what's that show?
Well, I tell you what.
Tell me.
I'm not sure. What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about the little, like the voice or something like that, or
American Idol. That's what I was thinking of. You know how there's always those guys on American Idol, guys and gals, and you know, you just ask yourself, did they plan that? Like it's that ludicrous. I feel like it was staged, you know. But then it's just like, I don't know. Maybe they really thought they were that good. I promise you, I am not delusional. I know I cannot sing, but that's all good. It's all good.
Well, I guarantee you talk about a trial and sharing it with the pastor or whatever. I mean, it would be a trial, brother.
It would be
a trial, and we'd be convicted.
Guilty. Oh man, I tell you what it would do though. It would set a standard of what not to do.
Which way, brother? What kind of standard you trying to
set? This is definitely the wrong way, man. I love it. I love it. Right. Well, bro, thank you so much for being on. I'm going to kind of segue, kind of set you up because you, me, and Lucian were having a conversation. It was the show after the show. We do that sometimes. Right. That's why you want to be on Clubhouse. Sometimes we do the show after the show. And Lucian was just sharing some of his victories, but also some of the challenges that he's been having. And man, we got into a great discussion, relates to our 30-day challenge. And Lucian asked you, which he might not be able to be here today. He was in the gym, but I think he had a pretty busy morning today. He was asking you, he said, Martinez, I know there's a lot of like crazy stuff out there, but like, I want you, someone who lives this particular lifestyle, does it well. I want to hear from you. I want to know more about this. Now, he might not be able to be here live, but he can go back and watch it. But I'm curious too, because you and your wife both about a year ago, and you can tell the story on this, but you guys decided to go plant-based or vegan or however, I don't know if there's even a difference, but you can elaborate. But you started telling us about how good you feel, things that you've noticed, just all that kind of good stuff, and not to put you on the spot, but tell about how you used to feel versus how you're kind of feeling now in your new season, quote unquote. I just I'm just curious about a few things, what that does, why, but more importantly, I want you to share your heart about this because man, you're very passionate about this. Like I really didn't even know how passionate you were about this until we've talked a few times, and I'm like, dude, this guy's fire on this. And I just think it'd be a great perspective for people to hear. It goes right in line with some of the stuff we're working on this month as a group, and how you have really it's really a part of to an extent, your faith, in the sense of like, man, this is just it's who I am, baby. It's who I am, and I like who you are, brother, man. So take it from there. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you guys got started, what you noticed, and just where you're at with the whole process.
Yeah, man. Like, so it kind of like it didn't start a year ago, but everything's a process.
Yeah.
One step here, one step there. But historically speaking, I've always been in training, running, active, that kind of thing. But I'm so active that on the most part, that afforded me to be able to eat anything I want. Now, mind you, I wasn't the person. I didn't have an you know see all, eat all attitude when it comes to food, because my diet, I don't drink Coca Colas and stuff like that.
Sure.
I don't drink alcohol or whatever. But so I did still have kind of a limit. But when it came to pizza and you know seafood, any food I see, it was just like that's.
Yeah, yeah.
But and I always fell back on my activity, my running. I've
Mm-hmm.
done multiple marathons, that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. Was a college athlete, but anyway. So, but here's the deal. Like I'm like, as you get older and that kind of stuff, you kind of like you're not as you can't outrun bad habits, so to speak.
Mm.
And
That's
that's
true.
that's why I kind of started thinking, well, I need to probably be a little bit more restrictive in the way I eat, a little bit, and so long story short, ended up doing the going vegan, and which is absence of dairy and any meat based products, including eggs, and at but part of that was inspired by the fact that, hey, I was having problems with my left knee for all of 2018, and I was still running on it. But I was like, about 2019, I was like, it catch me so much in a bad way that I would have to stop. And I'm like, multiple times throughout the day, and I'm thinking, well, if this keeps up, I'm going to have surgery, and
Yeah.
and I actually thought I was going to have surgery throughout 2008. It scared me to death, really. So I
Really?
quit running. Yeah, scared me to death. And so I said, you know, um, so I, at that time I wasn't necessarily thinking about being vegan
Mm-hmm.
at all, but I happened to go vegan in 2020, and I went vegan 2020. Is that right? Yeah. And bro, I tell you, about 8 months into it, I noticed that I didn't have any pain in my left knee or my joints as a whole. But and I don't want to get too much into it, but like it's been life changing. Yes, sir. I mean, for a whole year, I didn't do any running, and for the next year, I just walked. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't do any rigorous walking, but just I went out on the park and just walked, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
just to kind of like stay active. But you know, the thing about the vegan thing is, in my opinion, it's more than just saying no to meat. It's more than just saying no to dairy. It's saying it's saying, hey, I want to give my body a chance to perform at its most optimal level.
Mm.
Um, and and I think when you naturally discard inflammatory foods, inflammatory products from
Yeah.
your body's going to reward you. You know,
Huh.
so um, I I think it's a godsend to me, and I encourage anybody out there, like to give it a chance, at least like a day, or where you just like all you do is maybe you juice and eat vegetables, just live foods, live, what's that
Yeah.
saying? Live foods, live bodies, dead food, dead bodies.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
good. I haven't heard that.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
interesting.
bread, meat, that's dead food. You know,
Mm. Okay.
and so carbs. A lot of not to say carbs are bad, but I think we're too far on one side and not. There's that Chick-fil-A ad, where you have cows advertising eat more chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no one.
They're
Cows
incentivized.
yeah. Cows are saying eat more chickens. Chickens are saying eat more cows, but no one's saying eat more vegetables. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
sure.
So, but uh, what without having not knowing exactly where to go with this, because there's so many places to go when it comes to being vegan, or really it's not so much as, I think it's not so much as being vegan as it is saying, okay, I want to withdraw. I refuse to participate in this quagmire of of like what to eat, what not to eat. This is bad. I'm on a diet. I'm off the diet. Obesity, chronic illness. It's like, okay, there's so many variables associated with that, and the number one variable that's consistent with, as it relates to, you know, obesity, as it relates to chronic illnesses, as it relates to, stress, and a $1 trillion healthcare deficit. The number one factor is our choices in foods on a day to day basis.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to participate. Like me, I'm like, I don't think I want to participate in that. I deserve better than that. I want to find a way to calm the storm,
Yeah.
because there's enough
Yeah.
that I'm listening to, or that I'm
Sure.
dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So why don't I, you know, eliminate some variables to give me a baseline of performance,
Huh.
of health.
Man, that's awesome. So I actually have a few questions, right? And I don't know, we probably should call this segment like, I don't know, like Ask a Vegan, right? Because like, and we've talked about this. This is, you've been doing this for a while. It's not new, but it's still kind of new, right? Because we've talked about like, you know, like for instance, like, man, one of my favorite things to do is go to J. Alexander's and get a New York strip, right? Like there are factors there that where I'm just like, but I'm hearing you, right? I'm hearing you, and I want to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't think, like, here's kind of the interesting thing that I think we all, if we're honest with ourselves, it's like, uh, we'll say this. I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I just don't know that I'm there yet. So there's like this inkling, because like you just said a few things that I want to follow up and ask you for me, and I know Lucian just hopped on here. I think he's going to have some questions too. So number one, and I think you kind of cleared it up for me, because I've always been a little confused by this, but I think you just cleared it up. You're saying vegan is, it's not that you're just, in other words, vegan is I don't eat anything that comes from an animal. That's why the butter and the eggs. Like, is that like the baseline? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, see, I never knew that, because that's what I was just like, well, what, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know you got to watch out, like the butter, but like the eggs, I didn't really get the whole egg, but now I think it makes more sense to, okay, so you're saying, look, it's plant based, it's not, you know, nothing involving an animal is basically what this is.
Right.
Right.
Now, some people go so far, and they don't eat honey from bees, and I'm like, bro. Well, first of all,
I disagree strongly
calm down.
with what you were saying.
I'm like, nah, bro. I mean, honey, I love honey. You know.
Yeah.
But you know,
so did John the Baptist.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank
he
you.
rocked them locusts.
Hey, like you said, Jason, I'm not there yet.
You heard it here first, folks. He is not here yet.
When it comes to locusts and honey,
oh man, that's awesome. I love it.
But you know, the thing that's interesting though is like, you know, I I'm vegan, but you know, there's some people, like I have a friend and she is nothing, when she's vegan, it's nothing but raw plants.
Like she just picks some grass and rocks it out, or like, I mean, I know that's an overstatement, but like,
But she's a two-legged cow, bro. She's a two-legged cow. You know?
Dude, I don't think there's any context you can call a lady a cow, okay, and not
Right,
get in
right.
trouble.
Like,
I'm very curious.
we're not giving names. We're not giving names. We're not dropping names.
Oh man, that's awesome. But that's cool. That makes, which is awesome, because what you're sharing is like you just said. Hey man, I mean, I'm here, but I ain't there. You know what I'm saying? You're doing that. But I did have another question, because see, you've piqued my interest on something. Okay, because right now I'm having a little issue with one of my knees with running, and so you just said that, and I'm like,
Jason, as God is my witness.
I got a Bible. Put your hand on it right
Brother,
now.
I got 4 Bibles. I got my feet on them. I got my hands on them. You know?
Oh man, as God is my witness.
No, dude,
I thought turkeys could fly.
Bro, like, I kid you not. I'm thinking, man, I was staying up at night thinking, okay, I go see a doctor. I know I'm going to have surgery.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of world I want to see, and I don't want to be on crutches or a wheelchair or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, because again, the help that you have in your 20s, you'll take in your 30s. The help that you have in your 30s, in your 40s, you'll take in your 40s, so on. So, like, the thing about it is, you gotta meet this stuff head on. But like, I quit doing dairy, meat, again, that vegan lifestyle, and I tell you, bro, like, I was ready to give up running and be like, okay, I'm going to be biking and that kind of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Bro, like, I've been, like 2021, I've been running like 4 days a week,
Wow.
And at the minimum, and then like, I'm doing like 2 to 3 miles, and I'm not trying to set the world on fire, man, but I got my legs. It's therapeutic for me.
You're back in the game.
Yeah.
You thought you were out, and you're saying you made this adjustment, and now you're back in. Which that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't have to blaze the trails, but I do, man. I'm with you. I love running in a group. Like, that's my thing. I love that. Because that well, let me say this: running in a group outside and just going like on a greenway and just being outside like that. That's so much fun. Doing it early. I don't like doing it when it's hot. But this is a question, because this is and maybe this is what I'm dealing with, because you brought it up a couple times. And by the way, Brooklyn just hopped on here. Interesting story about Brooklyn. I don't know anyone that has this ability, but she does. She's able to, when she's like really hardcore training, she turns it on when it comes to veganism. Like, she I think would probably tell us here in a minute what she kind of experiences when she's on it, when she's doing that lifestyle, not doing that lifestyle. But my question, and either one of y'all, if you know the answer to this, what is it about the animal products that causes inflammation? Like, why does that automatically cause more inflammation than, say, eating plant-based stuff? Like, what's the science or whatever behind that?
Well, the technical science is I'm not really clear with that, so I'll defer to Brooklyn. But here's the deal: most people, you have to eat meat to get your protein. Okay. Well, and the truth of the matter is, like, animals get their protein from plants. So you're kind of like going through your nose to get to your elbow, so to speak, by eating animals.
Sure.
But the thing is, so you can cut out the middleman and just eat plants. But it's the cholesterol, bro. It's the it's also.
So is it the fat? Really, is it like the
yeah.
Okay.
It's
the bad fat, not the good fat, but the bad, like, yeah. Okay.
It's the bad fat, and then the thing about it is, the other thing is, like, we just have it. The volume of meat that we eat, it's just toxic to our body. And then on top of that, add to that is the stuff that they put in meat, like when they're bringing a chicken to full growth within like a
Oh,
month or
sure,
two. You
sure.
know what I mean? Um, and so like there's that the toxins. So your body's not ready for all that. And because again, it's getting a majority of just dead food in it, and it's
Yeah.
like it's trying to like, okay, how do I replenish my cells? How do I
Hmm.
you know you know you know fuel the body, so to speak?
Yeah.
And that's where the inflammation is on the most part.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense, like, because now that you said that, because now my mind is going, okay, you know, because like, it's encouraged to get, isn't it avocados that have the really good fats for you?
Yeah.
That kind of
Absolutely.
like it's not like you're just no fats in like because you need good. So
Olive
it's just
oil.
interesting. What'd you say, Brooke?
I said olive oil too.
That
Your
has
oils,
fats in it.
things like that. Yeah, healthy fats.
Oh, okay. I mean, hey, ask a vegan, folks. They know. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? That's really interesting. And I'll tell you this. This is kind of where I land right now. This is why I wanted to have this because most like, I mean, I think you guys would agree. This is even though it's starting to get a little more popular, it's still kind of a minority position, obviously, in the sense that not a ton of people, they kind of wind up, everyone that's more trendy. It's kind of trendy, right? So like if you're in Nashville, I'm sure you got more options in East Nashville than you would say Madison or
Right.
or what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
there's community building around these ideals, and for me, I think this is where I'm at. I'll tell you just because, and this is why it's been so helpful. Because, like I said, I'm hearing this information, and to an extent, my philosophy, quote unquote, is I have no problem enjoying a good meal, right, and everything you're saying. Like, in other words, hey, I have no problem. But the other side of me is, but wait a minute, there is this better option. Like I'm not going to deny that there's this better option, and so now this better option is kind of pulling me forward. Like, I wonder, like what would happen if I went a week just to see what my body would do by going plant based, just to see like what might that do for my knee. Like I really
Yeah.
am. I'm very intrigued by it because even I'll tell you this, and I'll let y'all talk about this because y'all know what's up. But I've always found it interesting in the Levitical diet. It talked about not eating meat from an animal that had been strangled, or in other words, had died very traumatically. And that's always you kind of read stuff like that, and you're like, huh, that's interesting. I mean, weird, but interesting. But it's interesting. I heard about this that, and I think you were kind of alluding to it, Martinez. What's in the meat, how the meat is treated, da di da. Well, if you have stress, an animal, if there is stress going on, that means there's cortisol being released.
Okay.
Well, if that animal is soaked in cortisol at the time of its death, what are you getting ready to eat?
Cortisol.
And
Yep.
so now all of a sudden you're anxious and you don't even know why. Well, I don't know. I know that might be a little hokey, but I think about those things. Like I think like, I want you look at anxiety. I mean, there's a lot of things to be anxious about, right? I'm not saying it's just food, but it's interesting that you start putting all these variables together, and you're just like, huh,
Yeah, you're
kinda
exactly
interesting.
right, Jason. Um, like when I first went vegan, I went vegan with the complete mindset. Like you said, what would happen if I did in my body? I went into it with that mindset. I did it for a week, and I thought to myself, this probably isn't going to work, but what the heck? Let's try it. And I was absolutely astonished with like the results. And I did my research on it. I did my studying because I'm an athlete, so I did it to reduce inflammation. So all of the hormones like cortisol and things like that they add in meat, because meat, like Martina said, animals are just the middlemen to protein. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just have the misconception that you can only get certain vitamins and only get protein from animals, which just isn't true. And especially animals like pigs. Pigs don't have any sweat glands. So all of those toxins stay in their body. So when you eat bacon, when you eat sausage, when you eat things like ham, certain meats like that, you're getting all of those toxins that pig did not sweat out. So your body is readjusting like the hormones your body is supposed to have, and then you adding hormones from an animal, not to mention everything you get from dairy too. It's a lot for your body to have to process and a lot for your body to have to take in. And I know I kind of heard you guys talking about like joints, like going vegan. When I was doing hardcore training. I would work out twice a day, long distance runs, and I'm still up to that point again. But I would have these hard runs and not even really be sore. I would barely feel the repercussion because my body I wasn't bloated, I wasn't inflamed. It just like tremendous.
Oh, you still there, Brooklyn?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think signal dropped. I apologize.
Oh no, you're good. And after I'd eat a meal, normally I would, if I'd eat like a meal with meat, and even, and we're not even talking about like low quality. Like I would eat meat, good lean meat, and even after I would eat that, I would just have like this weight, like I would be super tired or just wouldn't. But when I would go plant-based, I would have so much energy after I would eat a meal. It was unbelievable. And I left myself blown away. I thought that it wasn't going to work. And, the hardest part after I committed to vegan, because I wasn't one of those people. I wasn't going to tell anybody, per se. If somebody would ask, I would answer.
Didn't want the shame.
Because, well, the hardest part about going vegan wasn't the food shift. It was other people's opinions of me going vegan.
Sure,
like,
I understand.
People and they don't go about it in the right way necessarily. And I'm guilty too. I was one of those people. I grew up eating meat, like big meat eaters. And when I made that transition, and
oh, it keeps cutting
salad and sides at a restaurant, because most restaurants don't have a lot.
Brooklyn, you might need to go somewhere a little bit closer to your Wi-Fi connection, because it keeps dropping. Is that just me, or is it dropping for y'all too?
It dropped a couple of times on me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I want you to finish that story. While you're getting to Wi-Fi, I do want to say this. I think this is kind of the cool thing about this panel that I really wanted to do, and that is...
You guys hear me? Is it a little bit better?
It's kind of, now you're kind of robotic a little bit.
Yeah.
But I will say this. That's the thing that I think so interesting about this, is when you have these conversations, it does have the potential to cause people to be like, oh, like, in other words, it's not, this conversation is not to cause anyone to be defensive by no means. And I think that's the cool thing about this panel. It's like, Martinez right now is vegan. Brooklyn, she knows what it's like to do that. I mean, me and Lucian we're not, but I'm not opposed to it either. You know what I'm saying? I think that's cool that you do you. But I will tell you this: you're telling me some things that are kind of interesting to me, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I wonder what would happen if maybe the last 10 days of our 30-day challenge. What if I just tried it? I mean, what's to lose? I don't know. I like this is why I like having good conversations where it's like, hey, we're trying to make things happen. Brooklyn, how's your signal looking?
Do I sound better to you guys?
Oh, there you are. That sounds good.
That sounds pretty clear.
Yeah.
I think I was in a weak spot.
Yeah, I bet so. By the way, on TikTok, I apologize. I messed up. I've not been able to bring you into the loop, but we're just talking about we're talking to some real vegans about what it's like to be vegan, the benefits, all that good stuff. But Brooklyn, continue on.
Where was I? Vegan, yeah, the whole thing. But
Well,
when
you were
transition,
talking about the peer pressure. You're not being able to tell people you're
yeah,
vegan or asking, you know.
yeah, it was. I would get a lot of. I even had some people like biblically like say that I was wrong for not eating meat,
Well,
and biblically kind of try to go that route, but
I love.
people would just vocalize their opinion, and you know that was the worst part is what other people thought of me. So if you go vegan, in a lot of areas of your life too, you should do this, but you need to let go of what other people think about you. Actually, like a lifestyle choice that you make that is for your good. Don't worry about what people think. Like don't care what people think when you are doing a lifestyle change. And Martinez, I'm kind of curious to know. So, like, I just transitioned, like, because I slowly, when I don't go vegan and I go back vegan, I slowly take things out, so it's not just cold turkey, no pun intended, cold turkey, and
No
just no
turkey.
meat. So I try to slowly, and I like. It's actually funny today, like this week has been the marker of where I have just transitioned full straight vegan. And I know for me, before and even now, meat wasn't the problem for me, but the dairy was so difficult because there is dairy in everything. And a lot of times I'd feel so constricted. And if you're vegan, meal planning and meal prepping is kind of an essential because you have to think out what you're going to eat because you really don't have much options as far as like yeah, and like Jason said, like where you live depends on everything. Like you have less options based on where you live. So meal planning and meal prepping. But Martinez, I'm just kind of curious, was that with you, like was dairy harder or was the meat harder to cut out?
Uh, I they were all equally hard. I mean, like, I love cheese and I love meat. I mean, I just do. I mean, m- I love burgers,
Yeah, yeah.
and so and a burger without cheese is not a burger. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A
Yeah.
sandwich without cheese is not a sandwich. A meal without meat is not a meal. You know what I mean? It's like it's all connected, head bone connected to the shoulder bone kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it was all torturous. But I can tell you this, man, and women or woman, excuse me.
No, we
I want
got
to
two
cause
ladies
offense
on now.
here.
Kayla McCool just hopped on.
What? Kayla McCool in the house.
What
Um,
it do?
but that's awesome. But the thing that was interesting to me is like they say like cheese being from a animal,
Mhm.
cow, and then cheese also being processed, and it's also dairy. It was the trifecta. It's like one of the worst foods you can eat. And, and so, you know, my brother is interesting. My brother is a physical therapist. He was helping a 70-year-old rehab, because he broke a bone,
Mm.
and they were fearful. I think it may have been his uh like his hip or whatever, that kind
Mhm.
of stuff, and because he was just being active and he fell down and he broke it. But the thing about it is that orthopedics went in. My brother was telling me, and the orthopedic said for a 70-year-old person, he said to his wife, he's like, for a 70-year-old person, how is it that what's how is it that your husband, he has bones the strength of like a teenager?
Oh wow.
and and she said, well, he's never eaten dairy. He doesn't drink milk. He doesn't eat milk. He doesn't drink eat cheese and everything.
Yeah.
And so, you know, dairy, man, is like, people talk about it. I think people eat it for the calcium, but um, that's not, that's a faux pas. There's more problems with drinking milk than there are benefits. You can get the calcium somewhere else. It's the cholesterol and the atherosclerosis that is created as a result of eating all these fatty foods such as milk that is so bad. But anyway, I digress. The thing about it is the meat and the cheese were very hard, but what helps me is when I think about how inflammatory those foods are to my body and how inflammation is the start of illness, cancer, and stuff of that nature, if that makes sense. Arthritis, it's just not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, dude, I completely. And another thing with me is, when I had gone vegan really hard for training, and then I found out that the marathon was postponed, I still kept it going, but I had eaten, like, I went all in, and I kind of had a burger, like 2 burgers, and then, like,
Wow.
we're talking about, like, I went all in with that, and was I was so sick. I was exhausted. I was like, my body trying to adjust to what I just put inside myself. Like, I was as sick as a dog. It was just terrible. So honestly, thinking about how terrible I feel when I eat meat after not eating meat, and that's another thing too. It's like thinking about that. If I can eat healthy foods for so long and then eat no meat for so long and then eat meat and feel sick, that ought to tell me what it's doing to my body. Like, if something is making me sick, it's probably not good for my body. And you could use the argument, well, that's just because you're not used to it. Well, I can eat junk food for 3 weeks and then eat healthy foods and feel better. I just kind of feel like if I'm putting something like that in my body, and it was good quality meat, it wasn't like it was crap, like, just, it was good quality. And I felt terrible. Have you, since you went vegan, have you ever had meat again?
No, I have not ever eaten meat. I've not, but it's so weird. You, if you're not careful, stuff will sneak up on you. Like, I was at Whole Foods, and I have, like, it was during the pandemic, and I was like, they were giving out samples, and they had like giving out samples of turkey or something like that. I don't know if it was the pandemic, but they were giving out samples. I love samples. I'm a sample fool. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's lunch.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you get enough samples, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so
I know
I
you,
was
Martinez.
and I forgot. I forgot that I was vegan, and I grabbed a piece and I put it in my mouth. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't eat this, and I spit it out. And it's kind of like people who I've heard stories about people who might be alcoholic or they've given up alcohol or cigarettes for years, and then one day out of the blue they just light up a cigarette and they don't even know why, but it's kind of your body defaults to a natural tendency or whatever. But anyway, no, I've been vegan for about a year and like 2 months. I've never eaten meat or dairy since then. Now, I will say this: we're not like vegan crazy fanatics, and mind you, we don't buy it and we don't come into the house. But if we're out somewhere and there's a birthday party and someone has a cake for their kid and they want you to try it, I'll try the cake. There probably might be dairy in that. There might be egg in that. But right. I'm not bent out of shape about that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so, like, we're vegan in that we're vegan and organic, like, where nothing in this household comes in,
right,
unless it's vegan or if it's not organic, it's got to be GMO free. And I can tell you, giving up that dairy, like the bloating.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and I'm glad you said that, because and by the way, just had Joseph Reed hop on here on the Clubhouse. So glad to have you here, bro. We're basically, this segment is Ask a Vegan, because there's some interesting things about it. Martinez does it. Brooklyn's been able to do that. So they've been kind of telling us a little bit about their perspective, and just, it's been great.
Can I give my thought on this?
Yeah, sure.
I think y'all are mistaken.
There it is. There it
good.
is.
That was good.
There it is. Yeah,
I was waiting on that.
I don't know, man. I really am. I'm like, I just want to see. I think I kind of want to just check. Here's what I think I'm due. Here's what I think I'm going to do. Okay, I think I'm going to pick a set of days, like a 7 to 10 day stretch where I'm going to try it. But before I do it, I'm going to Jay's and I'm getting the big New York strip with the not your ordinary mac and cheese, and I'm just going to say farewell, and we'll see what happens on the other side.
Yeah. I'm not eating lettuce and asparagus Friday for my birthday. I guarantee you that.
There you go. But no, seriously, what you said though about that, Martinez, I think that's so powerful because I do think, unfortunately, of course, I'm honest to God, I'll tell you what, people can pick anything to fight about. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of those, like, it's really quick for it to be whichever side you're on. Like there's those that, like, you know, where Brooklyn's kind of experience where maybe people are a little heavy-handed towards her about. Then there's other people that's like, dude, they're marching in, they're getting in your face like, how dare you hand me that piece of cake? Right. Don't you know
when
that doesn't enter his body?
Yeah, when I went ketogenic, and because I'm insulin resistant, and how that leveled out my blood sugar, and I have to stay away from those sugary foods and high carbohydrates, and you know, there's a lot of things that just think that diet is absurd. You know, it's all about, you know, just people have their opinion on everything, and it just, you know, it helped me.
Refuse.
It helped.
Yeah, you're right, Lucian. And I'll tell you what, I just refuse to let something like that be something where we can't call, like, I want to be like, genuinely, Lucian, you kind of actually spurred this thing, but don't you agree? Like, there's a genuine interest. Like, I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that I'm, you know, I'm just.
Well, I'm dealing with some
know.
medical health issues that I'm like, maybe I need to take this out. Maybe I, you know, not for any other purpose, but for self-help and self-development, you know, and just for better health, you know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to keep dealing with these certain issues that I'm having. So, you know, and now, like I told you all yesterday, I'm narrowing it down because I'm not eating like I used to, because I'm eating healthier things, but I'm still having some stomach issues. And it's like, well, it's got to be this, or this. Yeah. So I got to figure out what's not working for me.
I can't even talk. I try to get it out so fast.
I got something to say.
Anyway, here it is. Dude, eliminate. That was the word I was looking for. Eliminate dairy, and if you can, limit your gluten products. You know, your bread.
Oh yeah, I don't do breads really. I don't do much gluten at all, especially because Pierce has a wheat allergy now. And so we've had to refocus things in our house because he is allergic to corn worse than anything.
That's right.
You talk about a hard thing for a kid. Everything's fried in vegetable oil except certain restaurants. So fries are even a thing, you know. And of course gluten's everywhere. He's got a wheat allergy and a corn. So those coincide. If it's corn free, it's got wheat. If it's wheat free, it's replaced with corn. And so it's been a huge challenge for us to find those certain foods. And I will say, just even like, we have to get him, Lay's has a chip called Simply Lay's. It's organic potato chips fried in good oils. And so he'll eat those for a snack or whatever at school or after school. But if you eat those and then go back and eat like the cheap dollar stuff that's fried in vegetable oil, it is amazing the taste difference after you purge yourself. I will say on the dairy side, cheeses, oh my gosh, I'm a dab blame mouse.
Did you say Jesus?
No, cheeses, sweet cheeses.
Jesus Lord.
Jesus.
When I went keto, I had to leave cereal, which was, if I can leave cereal, I can leave meat.
Wow, that is true. You got to know Lucian on that.
I can do anything. So, And so I left milk because milk in general, if you buy milk at the store, it has a lot of added sugar. So I did away with that. But if I would have a cheat day and then be like, oh, I'm craving cereal, it tasted horrible and the milk hurt me so bad and it made me feel so heavy that I was like, I can see a huge difference in that. So that's what's led me to pull in for doing it. I'm
Yeah.
not one to argue those things. I'm not one to
Right.
say the disciples weren't fishing for asparagus. I'm not the one to say that.
Well, the
Now,
truth is,
don't be ugly now.
Hey,
Don't be ugly.
No, I'm
hey,
kidding.
Ron Swanson taught us that fish is the lettuce of the sea, so that's why you throw it back. That's awesome. Well, guys, so we are definitely over time, but this has
Just
been
a
so
little
much
bit.
fun.
Just a little bit.
I want to acknowledge, number one, Brooklyn, thank you for coming back on the show. It was so fun having you. You've got to come on more often. And Kayla, Joseph, you guys, you may just showed up to kind of listen, but I would love to have you guys up. In fact, I want to kind of, if you are willing, give you the last couple minutes just to say, hey, introduce yourself, and let us know if you're willing to maybe be on here in the future, and let's get some conversations going.
Well, Jason, thank you, and Lucian, thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Love it that you're on here finally.
Thank you, Lucian. The Bible says that we shouldn't be gluttons because gluttony.
Oh man,
Sin,
I love it.
first off, but
yeah.
I've enjoyed this great. I haven't had the best morning. I got up, went to my bedroom door, opened it. My door handle fell off. I went in the bathroom, opened the medicine cabinet. The medicine cabinet handle fell off, and now I'm afraid to pee.
Oh gosh. Joseph Reed Show airing live.
But you guys have brightened my morning. I've enjoyed the conversation very much, Jason. Thank you.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yes, big shout out to Lucian for making that happen. And dude, thank you so much for hopping on. We gotta get you, dude. You're one of the. I told people like 2 days ago, maybe. I said you cannot be around Joseph Reed and not feel awesome. He's just that is your way of inspiring people, man. You just make people feel so good. Kayla, no pressure. I'll give you a moment. Like if there's an awkward pause, we're just gonna say no. Oh no, she took the mic off. What's up, Kayla?
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm joining in late, but yeah, the vegan talk. Billy and I actually went vegan pre-kids. And we went vegan, then we went vegetarian, and then we went all organic, and so one year, the year that we went all organic, and so it was around Thanksgiving, and so we offered to buy an organic turkey. And they're like, oh, no, it's okay. And I just told Bill, I was like, well, it's fine. And like the next thing we know, Gandy and Gampy, Bob McCool Sr., we come in their house and they're thawing out this organic turkey. They're like, do you know how much this costs? I said, I was going to buy it. And we have, Billy and I were quirky and different. And so, like I told you, we've tried Whole30, we've did a little keto. That was all, pre-babies. And now we're just like surviving on whatever we find.
Every person for themselves.
Yes. I mean, yes. So, but actually, we're finding that dairy, I know that I'm not compatible with dairy, so to speak. I am not compatible. I've never been. I love dairy, but dairy doesn't love me. And as Billy's getting older, he's found that dairy doesn't love him either. And then both of our kids, but we don't actually have milk in our house. And we only keep certain cheeses because if we have other cheeses, it upsets everyone's stomach in the house. And so Um, I know people look at me weird, but I'm like, oh no, we don't keep ice cream in the house. We, we'll have maybe a little bit of sherbet, or we might do something different. And I think it's really, really important to listen to your body. And I think that's kind of what y'all touched on today, is listening to what your body needs, because everybody's different. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's different, and you know, going vegan and going doing all those things, they're really, really hard. And people think you're weird because for so many years we had commercials, got milk. We had these things that were saying, no, you really need this. And now we're like going back and realizing, oh no, we really don't. That was just mass marketing. But no, I'm Kayla. If you don't know me, I've got two kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and we homeschool, and we're just trying to figure out what's best for us.
I love it. I love it. Well, you as well, Kayla. You need to come on the show, be a part of this, because what I have found is every time more people become a part of this, the dynamics, it changes and it gets so much better. So like the fact that y'all are on here, I think that's awesome. And I'm going to actually close us down today because I went back on my YouTube feed because I was curious, and today, y'all are a part of this. Today is the 50th morning show that's been done in a row. The 50th morning show.
Big 5-0.
So I appreciate you guys being a part of this. And this is just a part of my morning now. Like you guys are like, it's just my morning startup. So I appreciate you all, and I hope this helps other people. And definitely would love to connect more and more. We've already made some very interesting connections through this show, and so I love it. I appreciate you all. This is awesome. Somebody,
Jason, real quick, Martinez here.
Certainly.
Here's the big picture. The big picture is, what do you want your life to look at the latter end? And we should take notice that as people get older in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and of course, even now, a whole lot sooner, people are imprisoned by their body. And, and they find themselves on medication, leveraging their income, or not leveraging the income, but, committing their income to a vast majority of pharmaceuticals, in and out of the hospital and that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is we have taken that to be the norm, because it's like, oh, that's the way the world works. It doesn't have to work that way. That life where people are imprisoned by their body, that life where they're trying to figure out whether to keep the lights on or pay for medication or eat, that you don't have to have that. And the thing about it is, if we make the right choices now, as it relates to our eating, which includes saying no to something, it might not be going vegan, but you got to say no to something and keep on saying no, because the ongoing impact and implications to your body on a daily basis will catch up with you. And so that's all I'm trying to say here. It's like, find a way to say no. Try to find a way to preserve your body. It's not just going to be exercise alone. It's going to be a combination of smart choices.
Right.
And everything that, that's on the menu of America in the grocery store, whether you're at the restaurant, or it's just not good for you,
Yeah.
And so that's all I would like to say. It's like commit to you, because no one else is. There's not going to be a knight in shining armor coming to save you. Whether it's you may commit your life to cigarettes, or you've been loyal to the alcohol, you've been loyal to sugar, you've been loyal to meat. They're not loyal to you. You're just a stat.
Wow. Well, Martinez, thank you for sharing that. Like I told you guys earlier, I told you this dude's passionate about this stuff. And by the way, if you heard this and you're like, I want to learn more, you need to hit Martinez up. He's on Facebook. He's on Clubhouse. You're on Twitter too. Like you're on some places, right?
I'm on Twitter. Not that active, but I'm on there.
Well, maybe just tag yourself on this video. Make sure that people can get a hold of it. And man, I appreciate you because you genuinely do that out of a desire to help people. Well, guys, I hate to, but this is a hard cutoff. We're gonna have to shut her down. But I do appreciate you guys, the panel. Y'all are amazing. And everyone, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We're coming back here to do the same thing. We're gonna be talking, who knows what we'll be talking about this next round. Maybe Kayla and Joseph have something to say, or maybe Brooklyn's got an idea. I don't know. I'm open. This is just a morning conversation to kickstart the day. Appreciate y'all. Be blessed, be great. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m.